Hi, thanks for tuning into my official YouTube channel, Reverend MeeLing. I'm also known as Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, a few other names. So, I feel like doing a little bit of an impression sort of thing. And since the last one I did happened to be of my ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen, well, going to do an impression of her eldest daughter, Sondra. Okay. And her youngest daughter, Ariel. So, Sondra Marie Osteen and Ariel Marie Osteen. Okay. So, this actually took place at a Waffle House in Macon, Georgia. Okay. It was also my niece, Marissa Marie Lopez, also had been there while my son and my daughter were at the house with Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen and David Osteen in Macon, Georgia. So on the way to Waffle House, Sondra Marie Osteen had said, "You know, Aunt Susan, this is really a hood place." Where? Where is really a hood place? Aunt Susan, look. This is Macon, Georgia. You consider this hood? Yeah, it's hood. This? You consider this hood? Ariel in the back seat. Aunt Susan, this is such a hood place. You don't know what hood is. I was born and raised in New Jersey. I grew up walking around a few places in New Jersey, not forgetting certain locations in New York and Philadelphia. Hold on a second. What, Susan? That's Ariel, by the way. Roll down my window. Aunt Susan, what are you doing? I'm smelling the air. I'm smelling Macon, Georgia air just to see if this is hood. Like I can't. There are hood places and they have a specific odor. And Aunt Susan, what, Ariel? Aunt Susan, Macon, Georgia is hood. No, I don't smell hood. I don't see hood at all. So, pull into the Waffle House in Macon, Georgia. And Ariel Marie Osteen goes, "Aunt Susan, you don't know what hood is." I disagree. Now, mind you, Marissa Marie Lopez is looking at me, looking around Macon, Georgia, and looking at her two cousins going, looks at me, and we both go, Marissa Marie Lopez grew up and was born in Fort Worth, Texas, and had lived in different areas of Fort Worth, Texas. And so Ariel Marie Osteen says, Aunt Susan, can't you just see how hood Macon is? Look, we got a Waffle House. Hold on. No, maybe that's just my cigarette. Hold on, let me put that out. Hold on. No, I don't smell hood. Aunt Susan, again, Ariel Marie Osteen. Aunt Susan, how can you say you can smell hood? I grew up in New Jersey. Yeah, so what? There are specific areas in New Jersey that have a distinct smell. You know, it varies from certain area to certain area, but there is one distinctive smell you will definitely never, ever, 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 ever forget. And it's an underlying odor that it doesn't matter where you are in New Jersey, which part of Camden or Newark or Hoboken or Elizabethtown or certain areas in the Pines, that you can smell a distinct odor that is very recognizable in each of those areas, including in the 5 boroughs of New York and Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. There's just this underlying odor. It does change depending where you're at, but there's a specific scent that you can smell. Like, people that know that there's just this distinctive smell. Ariel Marie Osteen, Aunt Susan, no, what do you smell to find hood? All you gotta say is we got a Waffle House. You mean you have a chain restaurant here? Yes. You have a chain restaurant in Macon, Georgia. Yes, and it's Waffle House. See, where I grew up, walking around, you didn't usually find a chain restaurant in what you consider to be the hood. You usually, if it's a chain restaurant, it's usually a mom and pop-ish type of chain restaurant-ish. But it's not something that is corporate owned and ran, such as a Waffle House. No, Aunt Susan in Macon, Georgia, this is considered this is the hood of Georgia. Sondra Marie Osteen looks over at me. Aunt Susan, I'm telling you, Aunt Susan, Ariel and I know what hood is in Georgia. I look at my niece, Marissa Marie Lopez, and she looks at me. Marissa goes, I look at Marissa, I go, this is not hood. And Marissa looks at me and goes, I kind of figured. I looked at Marissa and I was like, you see how there's a Waffle House? And she goes, yeah. I said, there's areas in Fort Worth that you know what I'm talking about that don't have even a Waffle House. And she goes, yeah. I go, you feel safe walking around here? Marissa looks around, she goes, yeah. I go, because you got a Waffle House right here. She goes, yeah, I mean, it's not this restaurant, or this restaurant, but yeah. I'm like, okay, so, but then in this area of Fort Worth and this area of Fort Worth, you don't have that. No. Do you know what smell I'm talking about? And Marissa goes, well, I said, think about the smell in this area, this area, this area, this area, this area of Fort Worth, Texas. She goes, you're right. And I was like, yeah, do you smell that here in Macon, Georgia? She goes, no, I smell like, it smells clean. And I'm like, yeah, that's called pine trees. Not saying that those can't grow in the state of Texas-ish. It's a different type of pine. But yeah, no, you don't have that here. And so Ariel Marie Osteen, Aunt Susan, you just don't know what hood is. I don't know where you grew up in New Jersey, but in New Jersey, there is no hood. What'd you say, little girl? That was my response. What'd you say? I know that there are plenty of people that could be like, oh, we could introduce you to hood. You won't make it out alive, but we can introduce you to hood. And, little girl. You don't think that there's a hood in New Jersey? Now, Aunt Susan, what would make you think that there's anything hood in New Jersey? I look over at Ariel Marie Osteen because I've walked around those areas. And I survived. I could go there now. I'd be looked at, but I know the code. And so, like, as long as I don't fuck with other people's shit, like, that's just, this is not hood. And then as Ariel Marie Osteen looks at her sister, Sondra Marie Osteen, and says, Sondra, will you tell Aunt Susan that this is hood in Georgia? A group of people, various ages, go, hi, or hi, how are y'all? And I'm like, hi. See, that wouldn't happen in hood. At all. You guys have a good day. Well, thank you, sweetheart. Oh, well, you guys have a... Well, don't you have a different look about you? Yeah, I know. I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, so, you know. What'd you say? I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, and I deal with headaches and migraines. So that's why my hair looks like this. Well, oh my word. That's... What did you just say? Yeah, I had a head injury. I know I look weird. I'm not... like... And then Ariel goes, say, Susan, Aunt Susan, can't you see you're in the hood? No, child, that is not. You don't understand, first and foremost, this is not hood. And second, you don't understand what this is. In below the Mason-Dixon line, especially. So, shut up, little girl. Aunt Susan, don't you tell me to shut up. And then the group of individuals go, you hush, child. She is speaking to you. Okay, now I'm confused. Sweetheart, what is your name? I'm Susan. Hi. Oh, my word. And where are you from? Oh, I was born and raised in New Jersey. Because, you know, and it's not that I was afraid of being in the South at all. It was more along the lines, I was in a state that I'm not from. And I look like I do, and they were asking me questions, and I look like I do, and I was afraid that I was going to say something that was, you know, and so then the group, they go, well, what part of New Jersey? And then Ariel Marie Osteen goes and says, she thinks that she knows hood in comparison to Mike and Georgia. One of the guys in that group looks at Ariel Marie Osteen and says, "You hush your mouth, child." Ooh, ooh. Get him. They asked me a few other questions in reference to my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, and then the Army stuff and where I was in growing up in New Jersey and stuff like that. And then they were all like, well, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Yeah, so, sorry, I didn't mean to offend." And no, oh my God. What? What'd I do now? And they're just, "Oh my God." What? Hi. Hi. Please don't be mad at me. Okay. So y'all are gonna go in the Waffle House? Sondra Marie Osteen, yeah. Cause it's Waffle House. Waffle House is good. Shut up. I like Waffle House. Stupid teenager. And so, the group of them, they go walking on. Sondra Marie Osteen was texting a bunch of people to show up. And so go inside the Waffle House, and they're all like, look, this is our Aunt Susan. Hi. And, a bunch of, mainly the males, were like, oh. Well, hello. Hi. And so Sondra Marie Osteen and Ariel Marie Osteen are like, this is our Aunt Susan. She from Texas, but she was born and raised in New Jersey. Whatever. She thinks she from hood. And I said, no, I didn't say I think I'm from the hood. I said that I've grown up walking around in areas that actually would be considered as hood. This is not hood. One of the males, he goes, yeah, I lived out and went and said a whole bunch of words. and he spoke real fast. And I caught Atlanta, and I caught Jacksonville, and I caught a couple other ones. He's like, and yep, this ain't no hood. No. And I was like, oh, okay, you speak fast. Okay. And he's like, you heard me? Yeah, hi. So then there was a bunch of getting to know some of the guys and stuff like that, and and that sort of thing. Well, then after they asked a whole bunch of questions. Why you got hair like that? I did have a career that I just don't go tell your mom and dad on me. Or go and be like, well, don't you go get hair like that. I had a dream. And so... But then, get back into the van after talking with all of them and eating and stuff like that, and go back to the house in Macon, Georgia, which was technically on Warner Robins Air Force Base. And Sondra Marie Osteen and Ariel Marie Osteen continued to try to tell me that I didn't know what hood was. And Marissa Marie Lopez, my niece, and I are looking back and forth at one another like, this is not us. But Ariel Marie Osteen, Aunt Susan, I don't know where you came from in New Jersey, but in New Jersey, you don't know hood. You don't know hood. This is a hood. This Macon, Georgia is hood. It's hood. No, it's not. This is so nice. And I don't mean that in my biological mother sort of way. I mean, it's a very nice and calm, sweet and quaint town. I don't know why you think... Aunt Susan, you just don't know what hood is. You just don't know what the ghetto is. No, I do. Yeah. I have a feeling there are far more actual hood places in Georgia than Macon. Aunt Susan, no, you don't know. You don't know. There ain't no place. No, there ain't no place that's more hood than Macon, Georgia. I don't know. I don't think you've traveled very far if you think that this is the hood in Georgia. Aunt Susan, you don't know. She didn't laugh. I can't help it right now. You don't know, Aunt Susan. You don't know. You don't know, Aunt Susan. You don't know what hood is. You don't know just because you from New Jersey. That don't make you know what hood is. Yeah, I think it does. Now, if I grew up in New Jersey and never left the town that I grew up in, that'd be one thing. But I grew up going to a whole bunch of different areas in the state of New Jersey, as well as New York and Pennsylvania, and I'm telling you, I know the difference. And Macon, Georgia is not hood at all whatsoever. Sondra Marie Osteen looks at me, Aunt Susan, you're just so uppity. You don't know how hood Georgia actually is in Macon. This is hood. We got a Waffle House. Yeah, you also got a McDonald's. You got a Burger King. You got a Taco Bell. You got a whole bunch of chain restaurants. This is not hood. Not at all. Not unless hood has changed since my head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000. However, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I'm fairly certain that having all of those no. Sondra Marie Osteen looks at me, Aunt Susan, I just don't think you know what actual hood is. I don't think you know what hood is if it were to just be all up in your face. I don't think you understand what you are saying. I can tell you that I would have felt more comfortable going to Chicago than where I moved to in Illinois. And yes, there are nice areas in Chicago, but I'd have no problem walking around anywhere in Chicago. Aunt Susan, you don't know. Chicago ain't hood. What did you just say, Sondra? Sondra Marie Osteen. Aunt Susan, you don't know. You don't know. Well, there ain't no hood in Chicago. There ain't no hood in Chicago. I have a feeling there are some people who would very much easily be able to educate you and inform you that there are nice areas, and I don't mean that in my biological mother sort of way of nice. I mean there are nice areas of Chicago. However, there are also areas of Chicago that you would not be able to walk around in at any point in the daytime or nighttime especially. Sondra Marie Osteen, I could walk around anywhere I want to. No, ain't nobody gonna tell me where to walk. Technically. However, if you want to live, then you probably wouldn't want to be walking around certain areas by yourself. Well, I could just have a dog with me. Do you think a dog would protect you in certain areas of Chicago? Really? And Sondra, yeah, a dog will protect you anywhere. No. That's not how that works. And not all dogs will do that. But yeah, if you think that a dog will keep you safe in what is actually considered a hood, no. a dog actually would be considered something to steal from you, because it would be easy to figure out. That would make you a mark, essentially, for having a dog, because that meant you had the money to take care of a dog in certain areas, and that would make you a target. At least in some of the areas I grew up walking around in New York, there were only two people, or two types of people who had dogs. One, the dogs that they had were absolutely protective dogs. But that didn't mean they got taken care of. They were vicious dogs, though. The other type of person that had dogs in the areas I grew up walking around, usually within about, at most, a month, they didn't have that dog anymore. And depending on how that particular situation occurred, depended on whether or not they themselves were breathing anymore. Sondra Maria Osteen looks at me and goes, "Ain't what you mean by that?" If you have to ask that question, are you genuinely asking me what I mean by that? Sondra Marie Osteen looks at me and goes, "Yeah, of course I asked you that. Why? Why would they not be breathing?" Because that would be the type of location that you would be dumb enough walking around with a dog like that. And you would have stupidly attempted to fight, and then you wouldn't be breathing. If you really, really upset that person or group, depending where you were walking around. You don't see people, at least where I grew up walking around, you don't see them with little foofy dogs. Ever. "Oh, Aunt Susie, you don't know what you talking about." That's Ariel Marissa, by the way. "Aunt Susie, you don't know what you talking about. Everybody loves them little bit dogs." Yeah, up where I grew up walking around, if you had a little itty bitty dog, you weren't walking around where I grew up walking around. At all. Why you say that? Because if you had a little itty bitty dog and were walking around in the neighborhoods that I grew up walking around, I cannot think of a single block that I had grown up walking around where you would not be in an alleyway. That's how that would go. And so then Sondra Marie Osteen looks at me and goes, "What you mean alleyway? You don't have alleyways here in Macon, Georgia?" Sondra Marie Osteen goes, "No, why would we have an alleyway?" Because that's another easy way to tell if you're in a place that is considered an actual hood. You have alleyways. What's an alleyway? The fact I have to answer that question for you lets you know that you don't know what the hood is. Aunt Susie, you don't know what hood is. This Macon, Georgia, we are in the hood. We are. No. No. You are not. I am not. No, this is not the hood. Yes, it is, Aunt Susan. We can hear gunshots. You live on a military installation. Of course you're going to hear gunshots. Duh. You don't hear them like driving by your house, do you? Well, no, then you are not in the hood. You don't hear them a block over? No, then you are not in the hood. What is wrong with you? As getting into the house, after going to Waffle House in Macon, Georgia, David is sitting on the recliner, looks over, and he goes, what you guys do? And I look over at him and I go, apparently your daughters seem to think that this is the hood. And he looks at them and he goes, you don't know what the hood is. And I was like, see, I told you. And he goes, yeah, this is a very nice area. Big old puppy dog runs over. He had a great name. It's a big puppy dog. Which really pissed off Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen. That dog drools a lot. Yeah. Do you see the jowls on that dog? Of course he's gonna drool. You be baby. You be baby fluffy fluffy. And so Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen did not like that dog. And then, Sondra Marie Osteen and Ariel Marie Osteen tried to go and tell their mom, Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen, we tried to tell Aunt Susie that we in the hood. She don't know what the hood is. She don't know what ghetto is. Marissa, Marie Lopez, my niece, just looks over at Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen and just looks over at me, and I'm just like, puppy dog. It's your puppy dog. And, because I would spin that dog, because I could do that. And I am how I am. And I did that with my dog, that's Great Dane Ganesh, and spin him around like 5-6 times on the wood floor, and he's a little baby. You do flop the airs, you go over there. So yeah. So then, Sondra Marie and Ariel Marie Osteen tried to continue to explain how Macon, Georgia, is what they considered as hood. Maybe I have a different perception because of where I grew up walking around, as to what hood is. However, I don't think that's changed much. So they really truthfully failed trying to explain to me that Macon, Georgia is considered hood. Because if Macon, Georgia is considered hood, I just don't believe that I would guesstimate there are plenty of people from Georgia that could be like, no, this place is hood, this place is hood, you might be able to walk around ish as long as, well, you know the code, so that's cool, but yeah, like, it'd be safer if you, like, knew someone from there, but yeah, as long as you know the code, so as long as you don't, well, you know the code, so okay, and sort of thing. I would guesstimate there's plenty of people who could actually be like, no, Macon, Georgia is not anywhere remotely close to being considered as hood, at least when I was there in 2009. And so, though there were a couple of little boys, they were male teenagers, that were with Sondra Marie and Ariel Marie Osteen. I think they were their little boyfriends or whatever. They were like, no, we agree with them. And I was, this is hood. You don't know what hood is? You've never been outside of Macon, Georgia, have you? No? Okay, well, go outside of Macon, Georgia. I have a feeling there has to be at least a handful of towns in Georgia somewhere nearby that you could actually, have as an actual example as to where actual hood would be considered. I just don't know what those towns' names are. However, obviously, Sondra Marie and Ariel Marie Osteen massively failed trying to convince me that Macon, Georgia could be considered as hood, especially in 2009. Actually, one of my friends from high school lives in Georgia now. I bet he would probably be able to list off a couple of names that'd be in Georgia. I don't know where he is in comparison to Macon, Georgia, but I would guesstimate he might know a couple of towns or cities that would be more close to what an actual hood would be, especially since I do live in Illinois, and he knows what Chicago's like. So anyway, you guys have a good one. Hope you enjoyed my impersonation of my ex-sister-in-law, Mary Evongelina Nichols Osteen's 2 daughters, Sondra Marie and Ariel Marie Osteen. Maybe somebody could, let me know if I got the accents and the demeanor down good enough on that one. You guys have a good one.